Good morning. I'm David Talbot, Managing Director and Head of Research at Red Cloud Securities. I'd like to introduce Marco Roque. He's Director, and Steve Letwin, Director of Cassiar Gold Corp. Cassiar is advancing its orogenic Cassiar Gold project in BC. Currently at about 1 million ounces, we see growth potential from a couple deposits on site. And Marco, you've got about 15 minutes, and then we'll have a 5-minute Q&A at the end of the session. Attendees, please feel free to ask questions using the Q&A link below. Take it away, Marco.
Thank you. You want to start, Steve?
Yes, thanks. And I'm going to move very quickly because the man of the hour really is Marco. So thank you very much for the introduction. If you can put the first slide up there, Marco, on declining gold reserves. Yeah, so I think everybody is very familiar with the fact that, you know, we're producing just over 100 million ounces a year of gold every year. And we are not replacing production with reserves by a long shot. And this trend has been occurring, especially over the last decade, where we just haven't seen any major new discoveries, especially economic discoveries that we can post. So a real positive for gold, a real positive for Cassiar. Let's move to the next slide. On top of that, of course, Cassiar has what I would term being the largest independent Cassiar shareholder. I'm very pleased to say Cassiar has a very attractive 1 million plus ounce inferred deposit in Northeast BC. These are very rare. And as you can see from the map, they're the million ounce gold deposits that are not operated by tier 1 companies are few and far between. So we have a very attractive resource here in a very friendly jurisdiction. Next slide. The global mining exploration spending has been dropping for some time. When I was at the helm of IAMGOLD, we saw this in spades, especially beginning in 2013 with the decline in the gold price. So you can tell that unless you're exploring, and gold is no different than any other metal or resource. If you don't put money back into it, it's a shark-fed business. You don't replace the commodity. So here you can see how companies have decreased their allocations for exploration. I'm pleased to say that Cassiar, and Marco is going to speak to this, has a very robust exploration program planned for the next year. Let's go to the next slide. M&A activity. I've been on this for a long time. I know a number of people. Mark Bristol out of Barrick has the same views. And in fact, Mark, I give him full marks for the deal that he did with Randgold. I think gold M&A deals are going to increase significantly. They've been hit like everything else by the COVID-19 outbreak, but you can see they've increased lately, had about 10 million over the last 9 months of 2020. 2019 was 26 billion. But we think with the gold price increase, and we believe that this is quite sustainable and will recover from where it is today, the fact that exploration has been so marginal in terms of finding new reserves, especially in areas that are attractive for investors, we're going to see a lot more activity here. And then, of course, Cassiar, with its large and growing deposit, is going to become much, much more visible and much more attractive. New slide. So, and I can speak to this. And again, I'm not saying that other places other than North America don't work. They obviously do. But during my 10 years in the gold business, especially, we've seen gold producers for good reasons moving towards safe jurisdictions. You can see this on the chart. Again, not taking away from West Africa or South America, but being in Canada, especially in British Columbia, which is a very friendly mining jurisdiction, not only from a tax standpoint, but from a standpoint of motivating companies to come and explore, we have a very, very attractive deposit from that standpoint. So very safe jurisdiction, stable jurisdiction, which is so important, access to labor, etc. We're feeling really good about the fact that we're located in British Columbia, Canada. New slide. So Why have I been investing so aggressively? Well, this deposit has tremendous upside. We're sitting just at over 1 million ounces of gold at about 1.5 grams inferred. And, you know, for again, those people in the gold business, Cassiar has got a very attractive look to it. It's got about a 15-kilometer range. It's made up basically of two deposits. The Taurus deposit, which is bulk tonnage, sitting at about 1.5 grams and very shallow. So there's literally no overburden. The strip ratio is next to zero. It's got great infrastructure across the property. We have a highway that literally crosses our property. We have a permitted mill. We have access roads off the main highway. We have a camp that houses upwards of 40 people. We have tailings availability. All our permits are in place. We have an excellent team of people on the ground. One of our top individuals lives in the area, has very strong ties to the community. Our relationships with the First Nations is first class. We spend a lot of time making sure that this is all in place. We're very undervalued. Marco can speak to this. We're a great buy right now. We have a world-class team. I'm sure most of you have heard of Doug Kerwin, David Reese, James Maxwell, Chris Stewart. These individuals are world-class individuals. We're very pleased and honored to have them as part of our advisory team. We also have some fantastic board members. So lots of good guidance, lots of good counsel, and we meet every week to talk about strategy relentlessly. So this is a fantastic opportunity for people to put money into a company that's growing, is not in some remote jurisdiction halfway around the world. It's nearby. It's got the opportunity both at Taurus and Table Mountain, which is more high-grade narrow vein, to grow resources quite rapidly and economically. So really, really, really pleased to be on the board of this company. Very pleased to be a very strong and growing investor. Marco has been our president now for about 2 years. He's young, knowledgeable, high energy, brings a lot of experience to the table. Really pleased to see him. He's been driving our financing, driving our exploration potential on a 56,000 hectare land package, which has fantastic targets in front of it. So I don't want to take up any more time. I'm going to turn it over to Marco.
Thank you, Steve. That's very, very nice of you. So I'll just take it over from here, and I'll talk a little bit more from, you know, to what is probably one of our main assets, which is the people. I guess Steve Letwin was already introduced. It's great to have Steve on our boards, and we also actually have Doug Kerwin as our technical advisor. He joined roughly almost a year ago. He's really excited about the prospects of our company. We also count with Chris Stewart on our boards, and on the ground as well. We have Casey Gladwin, our VP of Exploration. That's actually together with James Maxwell. They were both quite instrumental in taking Sabina from discovery all the way to, I think, almost nearly 10 million ounces and operating in the Arctic Circle. So they've clearly done it before. And you know, more recently in November, we're also being able to add David Reese as you know, both a technical advisor as well as an investor. You know, he brings a wealth of knowledge. You know, he's one of the foremost organic gold experts in the world, which is a type of mineralization that we have at our assets. He's also a structural geologist, and you know, even more importantly, roughly 10 years ago, he has worked for the company that actually consolidated this land package. So he brings a wealth of knowledge into the you know, specifically from the property, and it's been invaluable in the last few months in driving the, you know, the exploration strategy as well. So you know, I'm really blessed to be surrounded by this caliber of people. In terms of cap structure, very quickly, I just wanted to highlight we have 54 million shares outstanding at 43 cents per share Canadian. That's a market cap of roughly you know, just over 23 million Canadian dollars. we have a cash position of over $5 million. So we're well financed for our exploration program this year, which we're planning to drill 15,000 meters. You know, it's in the last you know, few months, we've been able to substantially increase our institutional shareholder base. So in the last 7-8 months, we've increased it from just under 10% to you know, nearing 24% of our share registry. We also have a very healthy board, management, advisor, and insider ownership, you know, to create shareholder alignments. And you know, we'll keep on improving this their share structure and continue to attract you know, quality investors. Very quickly touching in our valuation, I guess, you know, we're, as you can imagine, with our cash balance and our market cap right now, we are very attractively valued given what we have. You know, this slide really shows and puts us in comparison to some of our peers. You know, the blue bars stand for enterprise value, which is, you know, market cap subtracted by the cash. And the yellow circles stand for enterprise value per ounce on the ground. So this ignores any exploration upside. So here we are, you know, Cassiar Gold is here on the bottom right. Our yellow circle stands at, you know, roughly $15 Canadian, or, you know, just under $20 Canadian per ounce on the ground, which is, you know, very attractively valued. So, you know, we have kind of a discount here to some of our peers, which we expect to narrow in the near future. And, you know, adding that the exploration upside, which we do have a lot, we will, you know, continue to provide you know, shareholder value, you know, by, you know, providing return on our share price as well. So further focusing into our assets, so we have two main assets. Cassiar Gold is our flagship, located in northern BC, between Silvertip from Kerr Mining and Red Chris from Newcrest. Red Chris is just, you know, a couple of 100 kilometers north on the road. So we're very well located there. Our secondary asset is Sheep Creek. It's a very prospective asset as well, also organic gold, but the entire, you know, it's located in southern BC, close to the border with the US. But the entirety of our focus, at least for this year, will be at Cassiar Gold, given we have limited resources, and you know, we're so much more advanced there, in both in the resource, the potential, the targets, and the infrastructure as well. So, you know, further narrowing to our flagship Cassiar Gold, and you know, looking at our land package, you know, we have a very large land package, 56,000 hectares. This is as a district scale potential. The million ounces sit entirely in this little orange smudge. They sit all together in, you know, in what is a flat lying, near surface, open pitable resource that is actually open in multiple directions. This deposit actually has a highway that goes literally over it, that links Highway 37 that comes here from the south and bisects our property. And then from Highway 37 next to the mill into the camp, we have the old open pit Cassiar asbestos mine and old Cassiar town site, which you know, highway that links to Highway 37. We have a permitted 300 ton per day mill with gravity flotation. We also have tailings, roughly 600,000 tons at 1 to 1.25 grams per ton. That gives us some strategic optionality there, both on the mill and the tailings. And we also have some historical high-grade resources between, you know, that roughly, you know, around 20 grams per ton from some of the veins that have been only partially explored and partially mined here at South Cassiar, just south of the mill. This is the 15-kilometer belt. This is the focus for this year. We have other prospects across the property, but this is kind of the near-term targets where we have mineralization, and we believe we can do some step outs. And you know, and just on this circle, we believe to have a multi-million ounce potential. This slide gives you a little bit of a visual of that 15-kilometer trend. This is actually sitting on one of our, you know, very attractive prospects at Lucky, which is a bulk tonnage prospect. So Taurus is also bulk tonnage, 1.5 grams per ton. So here at North Cassiar, Taurus, Wings Canyon, you know, roughly the targets are bulk tonnage disseminated gold. And then we can see here the Cassiar Highway coming to the right and going over the Taurus deposit and linking to the Highway 37 that runs across the base of these mountains. And then south from here on the more alpine targets where you see the portals here and the Cassiar South area, that's where we have the high grade targets. This, you know, kind of 20 gram per ton, you know, 2 to 3 meter thick gold in quartz veins. that really is going to be the focus for this year's exploration campaign. Just to talk a little bit about our foundational resource, it has 1 million ounces at 1.43 grams per ton, using a relatively high cutoff grade of 0.7, especially when you think about the geometry. This is a flat-lying deposit. Most of the resource is very, very shallow as well, less than 100 meters deep. And you can see the grade shells in blue in this schematic. You also can see here that there's almost no overburden to speak of. So that's really good to have, because that means low strip ratios, low mining costs. And again, I just wanted to highlight that this is open in multiple directions. Very quickly, in terms of the mats, we have very good mats. Over 95% of the ore is free milling. You can see here on the website on the picture the mill as well. It's in relatively good shape. You can see some of the highlights of our drilling results this year. You have or actually last year, our drilling campaign. So our 1 million ounces was a maiden resource put out in 2019. And you can see some really good intercepts from our last year's drill campaign. All drill holes came in mineralized. We have long intercepts like 115 at 56 meters at 1 gram, or 83, or 114 at 83 meters at 1.2 grams, or even some higher grade sections at 18 meters at 5.5 grams. And this is going to be the focus this high grade section is going to be the focus for roughly 3,000 meters that we're going to be allocating to follow up at Taurus this year. But the main focus will be actually at South Cassiar, where we'll be allocating roughly 12,000 meters of our 15,000 meter drill campaign. So we'll continue to grow our bulk tonnage at Taurus, and some of our bulk tonnage disseminated at North Cassiar. But really the focus here is the underexplored part of South Cassiar. We have a lot of targets there that are high grade. The old timers only scratched the surface. They were only interested in following mineralization to dig it out and put it through the mill. But we have, basically along strike, many of the veins are open along strike and at depth. There's also the possibility of having, different horizons in the stratigraphy. So, these are parallel veins, also potentially stacked veins, and truly a multi-million ounce potential. And you can see here on the dashed red lines some of the potential veins that we have here. These could be horizontal or vertical connections around the mafic units, and it's really the focus of the exploration campaign. And again, these are very high grade veins. You can see the historical resource that we have here on this picture that is already have 70,000 ounces, not part of our 43-101, but very high grade, 18 to 24 grams per ton. And also you can see here some of the historical production, which is kind of more meaningful. These are meaningful grades because these are the head grades going through the mill. You see most of the production in the 80s and 90s were between 17 and 21 grams per ton. Again, 2 to 3 meter thick veins, on average 20 grams per ton. And there's a potential to find a lot more with them. We have, they might bench and swell and have slightly higher or slightly lower grade, but on average they're very, very high grade. And this is very exciting because now we only have an inventory of bulk tonnage 1.5 gram, which is growing. It will continue to grow this year. But if we can start adding this high grade inventory to our growing bulk tonnage inventory, that will potentially change the head grade in a production scenario, increases margins, increases cash flow, which ultimately increases the valuation of our company. And we're very excited to start to drill there this year. A very quick mention to CSR. This is very important for us, the community, environments, and local economic impact. This is not just buzzwords. This is very important, not only because we need it for our social license to operate, especially being in BC, but also more importantly because it's the right thing to do. And we are spending a lot of time, money, and resources here, and to maintain that social license to operate. You'll see a few of the things in the near future that we're doing there, and it's it's more than just setting the values here. We're really spending a lot of time and effort here to make sure we are doing the right thing. In terms of catalysts, I can briefly we'll start actually drilling in Q2, so in a few months. So we'll open camp in late May and start drilling in June, both on the high grade as well as on the bulk tonnage targets. These are going to be the main catalysts coming this year. It really has the potential to completely transform the company. In the meantime, we'll have other catalysts. We're maximizing our asset value, improving our team, and basically achieving our corporate milestones. And you'll be seeing news on that. So stay tuned. We'll have some further catalysts in the near future as well before actually drilling. So stay tuned for that too. Just to summarize, we have as Steve mentioned, we have a foundational resource that is growing. We're surrounded by infrastructure, so we take all the boxes. We are very, very attractively valued at this point. We are led by a world-class team. I'm truly blessed to be surrounded by this caliber of people, and we truly have that multi-million ounce potential, which is we've proved partially the last year with our drilling, and we'll be further proving that this year, especially with the focus on the high grade, which really has the potential to completely transform the company. I think we're running out of time here, David. I'll pass it over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Marco. We've gone over our allotted time here. Sorry, I think my volume might be up too high. Sorry, we've gone past our allotted time. I think you did answer one of the questions here. How do you expect to get a higher valuation, increase your EV, and you demonstrated that in your catalyst. But maybe very quickly here, how quickly do you think you can get the mill back into production, and will it be large enough to service your bulk tonnage target, your resource?
Yeah. So I think the mill gives us a lot of strategic optionality. I think the mill is too small for our ambitions. We plan to prove 3, potentially 5 million ounces. So we'll need a mill that is a multiple of that. But it's very good to have a mill that is actually permitted. That especially being in BC, that makes our job to re-permit something much bigger that much easier. But at the same time, it gives us a potential opportunity, strategic optionality should we want to have a route of taking, for example, a small part, small scale production, which is not part of the strategy, but we do have that strategic optionality, and together with the tailings gives us flexibility in terms of our path going forward as well.
Perfect. Okay, thank you very much for joining us, Steve and Marco. Up next, everyone, we've got Troy Leskool. Take care.
Thanks. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.